Hey, hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Five Lug Racing Show. With you as always, my name is Don, my partner in crime, Ryan. We are here talking everything from the New Hampshire Motor Speedway race this past weekend. We are looking ahead to Kansas Motor Speedway. Just incredible playoff racing all the way around. A couple storylines we got to cover, including some teammate rivalries that seem to be brewing up in the NASCAR Cup garage. Can't wait to talk about that. That's going to be a lot of fun. We've got some tire news that we need to update you guys on. But of course, we want to update you guys on our sponsor, KK's Diecast Community on Facebook. They've got an incredible Facebook page full of NASCAR memorabilia, your diecast, your card breaks, all that good stuff. This week, we've got a diecast of the week, Ryan. It's an awesome one. We've got a Cale Yarborough from 1968. I mean, this car is beautiful. It's a Wood Brothers number 21. And shout out to the Wood Brothers. I know they didn't have the best first round of playoffs that they would have hoped for. 3 dead last finishes in a row was pretty historically bad. But Josh Berry was able to bounce back at New Hampshire this past week and bring home a P2 for his team. That was really awesome to see. But yeah, make sure you go check out KK's Diecast Community. They're on Facebook. Throw a couple bids down on this thing. It is gorgeous. It is that classic red and white with the gold foil letters on the door. It is amazing. So yeah, thank you to Kevin and KK's Diecast Community for everything you guys do for us. Ryan, it's so great to see you, bud. We are now 40% done with the NASCAR playoffs. There's only 6 races left, bud. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. Well, we're one race into the round of 12, and we had a race up in New Hampshire that was seemingly one-sided. If it wasn't the 22 out front, it was the 12. So, the Penske guys definitely brought it. And speaking of Penske, we talked about Wood Brothers just now with Josh Berry having an excellent run. They have a Penske alliance. Their Ford was super fast all weekend as well. It just was one of those races where the dominance of what they seem to have on the shorter track package, the shorter flat track package, it showed up a little. It could be a prequel to Phoenix, folks. This type of setup and racing is similar to what you can see at Phoenix. And Ryan Blaney was bad fast. That 12 car was hooked up. Joey Logano had the glimpses of speed, but even he didn't have enough for the 12. And, at the end, we kind of thought, hey, that 21 on older tires, I mean, he just decided to take 2. And, he still had a little something for Ryan Blaney. Now, I don't know. I mean, on the broadcast, they talk about the team orders and stuff, and you could see where Barry was pushing it a little bit and lost the nose a couple times when he did. I'm sure he was pushing hard to try to go get his team a win. But after he lost the nose a couple times, I think he just said, let's finish this thing, and get a good finish for the team. And Ryan Blaney punches his ticket to the round of 8. By virtue of his win in New Hampshire. So congratulations to Ryan and his number 12 team. And there was some other stuff, though, that sprinkled into this race that makes for, some interesting conversation. The big thing, the big glaring pink elephant in the room is the rivalry you just spoke of, inter-team rivalry between the 54 and the 11. Ty Gibbs, Denny Hamlin. Ty Gibbs was in front of Denny Hamlin, and Denny seemingly, with the eye test, had the speed to get around his teammate, and his teammate held him up. Denny wasn't having it, and gave him a nice little bump and took out the 54 car. And then immediately cues the radio, is anybody afraid to talk to this guy? Denny was quite fed up. And then on the radio, on the 54, all you hear is, oh boy, game on. That's what you hear. Game on.
Yep.
It's the playoffs. Ty Gibbs is not in them. The 11 is. The other team car, three of these cars were all tied together. The 20 right behind the 11, and almost was collateral damage done when the 11 bumps the 54 and seemingly wrecks him.
Yeah.
We need to talk about it, and I'm sure you have your opinions. I have my opinions, and everybody listening has their opinions as well. And it's been polled and all that. It's been the talk of the week. So what do you think, Don?
Look, you mentioned a very specific term when you were talking about the Wood brothers and Penske, Josh Berry and Ryan Blaney. And I want to elaborate on that because I find it interesting that Josh Berry was so incredibly fast, but Ryan Blaney still ended up with the win. Okay. And what I mean by that is I'm not saying they gave him the win. I'm just saying it looked funny. Okay. So we talk about team orders. We just saw Joe Gibbs Racing win 3 playoff races in a row. Okay. They swept the first round. We're talking about Chase Briscoe, we're talking about Denny Hamlin, we're talking about Christopher Bell. Okay. Who's the odd man out there? And he just so happens to have his name linked to the team. Okay. Ty Gibbs is not in the playoffs. And I am 100% on board with Ty Gibbs Racing for wins and trying to get his team bonus checks and all that fancy stuff that comes with it. But when you've got a situation that's materializing around you and you've got teammates hunting every single point that they can possibly get, and you clearly don't have the car that's going to win the race. I know we were only halfway through this race when that happened, but Ty Gibbs did not have the winning race car on Sunday. So you have to there's got to be a competitor's side and there's got to be a business side because it's still a business at the end of the day. And Ty Gibbs seemed like he put himself above a lot of people at the Joe Gibbs organization on Sunday afternoon. I'm not saying Ty Gibbs is wrong. I'm just saying that there are situations that can be handled a certain way where it helps everybody be successful. Okay. Ty Gibbs would not have lost out on anything if he let Denny Hamlin, and I say it appeared that Denny and Christopher Bell were slightly better than the 54 at that specific point in the race. So we saw Ty Gibbs almost wreck 2 cars in front of Denny Hamlin on the straightaway before Denny actually finally got up to him. And that could have been a mess. Okay. So fast forward another lap and Denny is fed up. And we'll show you guys. We'll show you guys a replay of it. Denny Hamlin gives that nudge to Ty, gets him out of the way, almost takes out the 20 car. I mean, you take out the 20 car. If Denny takes out the 20 car and keeps on rolling, there's a whole nother set of issues. So let's just JGR could just be thankful that the 20 car did not end up in the back pocket of the 54 because that would have gotten real ugly real fast. We've already seen Spicy Bell this year. I don't know if anybody wants to take that guy off any more than he's already been this year.
Yeah.
Okay. But this isn't about Bell. This is about Ty Gibbs and Denny Hamlin. What's really concerning about this is Ty Gibbs said game on. And then in his post race says, I'm looking forward to next week. Let's go race next week. And I'm paraphrasing. That's not a direct quote. I can't wait for next week. Make whatever you want of that, you will. I don't agree with Ty Gibbs. I'm not in the race car. I'm not a professional race car driver, but I've watched it for 35 years. And what I saw from the 54 was not very team friendly as far as helping your organization, that the name you have on your race car, and it just got real ugly real fast. I don't know. We don't know any of the private business that happened on Monday morning at Joe Gibbs Racing. We have no idea what's going to happen this coming weekend. That makes it kind of exciting. But at the same time, I do not want to see the 54 wrecking a championship contender, whether it's a teammate or not. I don't care. So Ty Gibbs has a lot of self-reflecting to kind of go through right now. He's in a very interesting spot because his job is not on the line. He's not going to lose that race car. Anybody who thinks Ty Gibbs is going to lose that race car, you're out of your mind. Okay. So It's going to be really interesting to see how the Gibbs organization handles this. It's going to be really interesting to see how Denny handles this moving forward. And of course, Sunday at Kansas, what's the 54 going to do as far as any kind of retaliation or even payback or whatever you want to call it? My opinion is the 54 could have made better decisions on Sunday to help that organization as a whole rather than just helping himself. Ryan?
Yeah, so I see both sides of this coin, and objectively, of course, I understand Denny Hamlin's frustration. Is wrecking him the answer? No. And it comes back to conversations that you and I have had about other various situations throughout the season where drivers are entitled to their spot on the track. Ty Gibbs was not a lap down. He was on the lead lap.
Right.
They were racing for position. So in a sense, Ty Gibbs is entitled to that spot on the track until whoever's behind him can get around him. And, Denny is forcing the issue and getting frustrated because Denny is big picture racing. And like you said, every spot on the track is a point, and every point matters, especially when you come to an end of the stage and things of that manner to get your bonus points to get you, eventually to advance to the next round. And another part of the frustration may be the fact that the Joe Gibbs Racing team as a whole missed the setup this weekend. The Toyotas missed the setup this weekend. And some of the Chevy teams, but Toyota as a whole really struggled for the first time this postseason. And I don't know if that was all compounding and snowballing into what eventually led Denny to do what he did. But he made quick work of his teammate. And like you said, and we talked about what could have been potentially collateral damage with the 20 car, and a teammate that is in the playoffs getting caught up in that would have been it would have been wild.
We might have seen a 3-person brawl after that race, to be honest,
and
which I don't think we've ever seen with any team.
And on top of it, I thought it was interesting that the statement that Coach Gibbs gave after the race was, those are two drivers that will need to have a conversation after the race and figure it out. Like he wasn't even going to meddle in the business. And I find that interesting because Joe Gibbs is a professional coach. Okay. He's won NFL championships and NASCAR championships. He's a champion in 2 different sports leagues. And he talked about in person with us about, getting good people and having processes in place and everything working itself out. And that's one of the things that he attributes to success. But for him to try to take a back seat here, I have a hard time believing. Now, I wish I was a fly on the wall Monday morning in Joe Gibbs Racing. I have a very hard time believing that Joe Gibbs said nothing to Ty or Denny or to both of them at the same time. I have a hard time believing that. But on the other side of things, I can respect that he doesn't want to air the laundry to the media because, the dirty laundry's there, folks, and it needed some washing. And Joe Gibbs is probably going to wash that laundry because I just can't see this continuing into Kansas. It can't bleed over. Joe Gibbs Racing has 3 cars that have a potential to win a championship. And if I was a team owner, I'd be darned if I was going to allow one of my drivers to influence the other driver's season this late in the season. So
now I want to elaborate on that because one of his drivers was negatively influencing championship implications this past weekend.
But we're talking about stage 2 in a race, okay? And and it's not like Denny was riding behind Ty for 25 laps and couldn't get around him. We're talking a couple laps, a couple corners, and Denny got hot-headed and impatient. But I also feel like it comes back to past things. I think this is deeper than just this weekend. So we have to be objective in the way we look at it. But Denny forced the issue, and, his time is running thin on winning a championship. So every point to him matters. And, let's be honest. I don't see the 11 car not advancing through this round of the postseason here. But
he would have to have two DNFs the next 2 weeks. It's not likely with Denny. He's just too good.
Yeah, it's just not going to happen. But, I can't never say never, right? But, it's just highly unlikely. So, but I get it. He's got a motivator burning inside him. He wants that championship, and he's going to do whatever it takes to get it. Those gloves are off. But for Ty to react the way he did, I get it. I'd be mad if I was Ty. And in many ways, Ty had the right to his position on the track. If you want to get around me, pass me. And we saw, let's talk about that, because I think this is a good segue to talk about how hard it was to pass at New Hampshire. It wasn't impossible, but it was difficult. It always typically is. We've seen drivers in what some fans call the glory days of NASCAR lead every freaking lap of this race, and I'm talking about Jeff Burton, okay? Every lap of this race was led once upon a time by Jeff Burton in the X-Side Batteries 99 Roush Racing Ford, okay? It's odd that I could remember that race like it was yesterday, but I can, because it's not every day you see a driver lead start finish, you just don't. And so this place is notoriously tough to pass. And with this car and with the tires, I was hoping we would get to see more tire fall off at this track, and we need it. Now, they were talking in the broadcast about the tire being different, and it helps with the passing. And okay, show me something a little bit more, though, because let me tell you something. What we saw at Bristol and what we saw here were almost polar opposites. And as far as tires are concerned, now I want to find that happy medium for a place like New Hampshire. I want tires to matter. I want people not to go out and get 2 tires and, like Josh Berry did at the end of this race, and darn near run down the leader and make a push. I want tires to have importance in this race and play into the factor of strategy. And, I'm sorry, but, you shouldn't have hundreds of laps on a tire and still be able to run second. That doesn't jive with me. It just doesn't jive with me. That's me. That's my opinion. You all are entitled to your own, but it just does not jive with me. And I need to see something a little bit more. The passing, yes. I don't mind skill in setting up a pass and getting the pass done. But, I mean, the fact that these tires just did not do what I was hoping I would see, I just want to see a little bit of a softer tire, and let, bring what they called those red tires here, and let these tires scrub off a little bit, and make the cars and the drivers have to work on not only the handling aspect of tires that are wearing out, but then trying to pass while you have bad handling.
It seems like such an easy fix, Ryan. It seems like, hey, NASCAR, pull up your phone. Hey, Goodyear, those tires you did at Bristol, make them a little bit stronger, just a smidge stronger, and ship your truck out to New Hampshire, and let's turn these guys loose. Instead, we get the crazy hard compound, almost no tire wear. If you took tires 20 laps different from another guy, they leveled off 20 laps after that, and everybody's identical anyway. It's just, and I'll call it for what it is. New Hampshire was a mediocre race, right? Like I support and love NASCAR racing.
Same.
New Hampshire compared to Bristol, like you said, polar opposites, and they have the ability to fix it, and they choose not to. It seems very strange to me.
Yeah. I mean, this was the 4th playoff race that we've had, and this was the first one that I was like, this one was mid, and
right.
You're not going to hit a home run every time, but I feel like there's room
right.
for improvement. Now, speaking of room for improvement, Goodyear has a new intermediate right side tire that will debut this weekend at Kansas. It will also be used at Vegas, and this is the first race in an intermediate 1.5-mile track that we've ran that is not a drafting track since May, which is almost mind-blowing to think about, because here we are sitting we're sitting here at the end of September, and this whole summer stretch, we haven't really had an opportunity to do this. So the tire is supposed to it's the construction of the tire that makes this right side tire different. And I would have to think that has to do with the build and flex in the sidewall. That's part of what, to me, what makes it seem like it would be different. And Goodyear says it's going to force teams to balance grip with outright speed and to maximize their performance. So with that said, here we go. We go into this race kind of a little bit blind. The practice session is going to be quite interesting this weekend to get a feel for what these tires are going to do. It's the right sides, and again, it's going to impact how they are in the corners and how they get out of the turns and what type of speed they're going to be able to carry, how you're going to set up this, how you're going to balance this car. So Kansas has been a track where we've had good racing, but I applaud NASCAR and Goodyear for trying to mix it up. Kind of missed a little bit this past weekend at New Hampshire. Next year, I'm sure they're going to revisit that. But, we're going to go in with a little bit of an unknown until they get some laps logged on these tires, because this tire, to my knowledge, has not been tested. So, practice is going to be the first we're seeing it. And I'm excited. I think it keeps a variable into the race that, we're just not certain. And then, with Vegas being a very similar track, different, but similar, it brings up, hey, a couple weeks, we get to see this tire again, and lets the teams get a little bit of notes on it for Las Vegas. And my goodness, after seeing New Hampshire, I hope we do something with tires at Phoenix, because, I just don't want to see a situation like New Hampshire where it is more difficult to pass and the tires just don't wear. We need to have some degradation in our championship race. You can't just set tires on these things and just say, go get it. It's like,
because we know how that story turns out the last 3.5 years.
Go get it. Bring it to me when you need fuel. No, I don't. I need some variable change, and
let the drivers actually drive their cars rather than letting them go all out, because then what happens? I actually understand this aspect of it with the next gen car. I actually think this next gen car is a lot of fun. I think it has a lot of opportunity for great racing if the tires fell off.
Yeah.
Because we've seen so much passing from so many different drivers, whether they're the top teams or the lower teams, have really good success when the tires have fall off. Isn't that what everybody wants? Everybody wants passing. So,
yep.
I did want to get your opinion on something, Ryan, before we get a little bit more into Kansas and the odds and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Ryan Blaney on the Dale Jr. download this week said he misses longer practices. He is not a fan of the 20-minute practice for one group, 20-minute practice for another group, and everybody deal with it. I think I kind of agree with it. I think it would be a lot of fun to see like a happy hour event again, where turn all 40 cars out for 1 hour. Go let them do what they want to do for an hour, and see what happens, because this 2 20-minute session thing is just, it's kind of meh. And maybe NASCAR missed something there where fans might be a little bit more interested in it, you know?
Yeah. So Ryan Blaney's not alone in that statement. As far as the pulse in the garage area, everybody wants a little bit more practice time, more seat time helps the drivers, the teams, etc. Dial in their race car. There has been instances, and I apologize, I cannot recall the track right now, but this year, at least one time, we did see a joint practice session where it wasn't Group A and Group B; it was everybody out at once. And if you want to have it 50 minutes, 50 minutes is what it is. Fine, every team gets 50 minutes. And I bring the welcome mat out for that too. What's it going to hurt?
Yeah.
What's it going to hurt? It's not going to hurt anything, in my opinion. It should help some teams struggle a little less. It should help some teams dial it in. 25 minutes versus the 50 minutes. I say just let them all out there and let them have at it.
I agree.
I'm fully on board with, especially because it's not like back in the day where we got like 3 practice sessions in a weekend. It's one and done, and then you go qualify. So why not let them have 50 minutes and make it up to the teams how much they want to spend on the track in that 50 minutes.
Exactly.
And I'm sure a lot more teams would be taking advantage of more than 25 minutes. So
absolutely,
they might not use all 50, but they're going to use more than 25. I can almost guarantee it. So, and also I think it gives you a good idea too, when you do things with tires and you make little tweaks here and there, it lets you get a better feel for how much you truly are going to have an issue with a particular something. Like, I mean, if you had a 50-minute practice session at Bristol a couple weeks ago, Goodyear would have known and NASCAR would have known, oh, we're going to have a massive tire fall off here. Let's already have that extra set of tires mounted and balanced. And, it just, I don't know. But yeah, I think that NASCAR could definitely explore, letting these guys log a little bit more laps. I mean, you're already there for 50 minutes. Absolutely. Let them have at it. I don't have any issues with it.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
Yeah.
But man, so Kansas is on the horizon. We saw the likes of Kyle Larson do Kyle Larson things here earlier this spring. No surprise there. I mean, the guy is ridiculous fast at this track. We've seen him win at Kansas Motor Speedway a couple of times. This specific event last year, Ross Chastain smashed a big fat watermelon all over the front straightaway, got himself a W. He wasn't in the playoffs at the time, but it was still an incredibly special win for the one team. Let's talk about that a little bit more, bud.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be a welcoming thing for Ross Chastain, right? Going to a race.
Yep.
He won last year, and he is in the postseason this year.
Yep.
Ross has got to be licking his chops. He had a pretty decent New Hampshire. He had a better New Hampshire than Cindric and Reddick and Wallace. And I think we need to talk about that because we got to talk about the panic button. The way that these playoffs are set up, if you come out of the gate a little bit miss and you feel like you're playing from behind the 8 ball and you're playing catch up and you're chasing points. And I mean, you're chasing points from the drop of a green flag in any race anyway, but you're really chasing points when your first race of the postseason, this next round didn't go as anticipated. Like we said earlier in the show, the Toyotas seemingly missed. And I will say, I got to give a little bit of leadway to the 45 team. They had maybe one of the better Toyotas, but they had brake issues. Again, yes. Tyler Reddick was complaining about having a lot of pedal fade and losing his pedal, and it got worse and worse and worse as the race went on. Listen, I don't care if you're going 80 miles into a corner or 180 miles into a corner. if you can't trust your brake pedal, it's scary. And you got to back up it changes how you drive a race, because you got to change your bias too. So they were making him change his brake bias to give him more rear bias, which can actually affect how the car handles in a corner. It just changes the whole dynamic of your race. You saw the 45.
The whole balance.
Yeah. You saw the 45 slide down the leaderboard as a result. But, early in the race, before the brake issues got too bad, he was a top 10 car. So, unfortunate for them, they did finish the race. They didn't crash or anything, and same with Bubba Wallace, but they did not have as good of a first race in this round of 12 as they were going to hope for. And Bubba Wallace is 12th in points now, 27 below the cut line, and 11th in points is Tyler Reddick, 23 below the cut line. It is panic button time for them.
Absolutely.
I believe that they will have speed in these next two races, and they'll be in contention to get good points this weekend at Kansas. Right. Why do I say that, Don? Well, both of these drivers have won here at Kansas for 23XI Racing. Ironically, both in the 45 car. They are the only active drivers in the NASCAR field to win in the same car number, 45. Wow. Interesting stat.
And add Kurt Busch to that, because in 2022, Kurt Busch won in the 45 car also.
Yes.
Kurt's not with us in the series anymore, but that's still kind of an interesting little tidbit.
Yeah. So, the only other one that I can think of right now, actually, I might be mistaken, is the 2 car. Brad Keselowski won in the 2, and Austin Cindric has as well. But it's not every day you see active drivers in the field with the same car numbers, but they stayed on the same team. You know what I mean? So Reddick and Bubba are on the same team still. They never left the team, but they both won in the same car number. That's where I got that stat from. But anyway, Kansas has been a special place for them, because not only have they both won in the same car number, but they've done it at this track. So Kansas has been a good track for 23XI in the past. I believe that they're going to come here slinging. They're going to have speed. They're going to have pace. They're going to figure something out. But dare I say, this race might be more important for Bubba Wallace than is Tyler Reddick, because of what looms behind Kansas is the Charlotte Roval.
Right.
Now, we know that road courses have not been a strength of Bubba Wallace's at how they compare to Tyler Reddick, who has multiple wins on road courses. Bubba has gotten significantly better at his road racing, but it's not to that level of Tyler Reddick. Whereas, Tyler Reddick can go out and be in contention for a Roval win. I mean, they're going to have to deal with a non-playoff driver in Shane Van Gisbergen in there, but Tyler Reddick, can get around a road course. Okay. So, I think this is Bubba's shot. If Bubba's going to say, hey, I got to win, it's got to be Kansas. Whereas Reddick can say, I got to win, and it could be Kansas or the Roval. But we've seen it come down to the Roval before for Tyler Reddick, and him have to fight and seemingly not have a good one. And there's nothing guaranteed in the playoffs or at any given race. So either of them have got to go get it. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things where those guys are going to have to fight and scratch and claw to get above the cut, because it gets harder as these eliminations go and you weed out the weak, right? Above the cut right now, 8th place, 12 points above the cut is Chase Briscoe. I don't see Chase Briscoe having a bad weekend here in Kansas. I just don't.
Not on his career year that he's put together already. That's for sure.
Yeah, and they just got things figured out on these intermediate tracks right now as a whole for James Small and Chase Briscoe. I don't necessarily think that they're going to make up points on him. So where are they going to get points made up? Could it be Chase Elliott plus 14? Could it be Joey Logano at plus 24? Maybe. But Logano's had some success here at Kansas. Hamlin plus 27. Again, we talked about him, if you're going to have to hope for other drivers to have misfortune and you're in the second race of the playoffs here in this round, then yeah, it's time to hit the panic button. So either go out and win or go out and find a way to get all the stage points you can, bring yourself a fast piece to the racetrack so you're up front all day. And we've seen it with these guys. They can do it. So we'll have to see. But this is make or break weekend for 2311, in my opinion. Austin Cindric as well. Ross Chastain, you had mentioned, coming into Kansas, he won this race last year. He's 12 below the cut. He's got to feel good about it. This is a place where he should expect to go out and run well. But again, you're going to have to go out and find points among all these other people who are also in the playoffs because they're good at finding points. So it's tough. It's time to strap up, get them gloves pulled back, and it's going to be quite interesting to see how it all plays out, Don. The only driver that doesn't really have to worry about it as much is Ryan Blaney because he won last week, and he could breathe easy.
Ryan Blaney's on for the next 2 races.
Now you spoke of Kyle Larson and how he won this race in the spring. Well, when you look and you ask Vegas who you're going to pick for a favorite, they didn't go very far from that well. They went right back to it. They went to Kyle Larson at plus 375. And man, does that make a lot of sense because in the last 7 races here, he's led 26.6% of the laps. Average finish of 6.3, which is the best in the field. 2 wins in those last 6 races, in those 7 races as well. A handful of top 5s, 5 of them, and 6 top 10s. So only once has he finished outside of the top 10 in the last 7 here. Yikes. If you are a Kyle Larson fan, you're chomping at the bits. If you are the field, you're going, oh boy, we're going to have to put up with the 5 car this weekend. Denny Hamlin plus 575, William Byron plus 700, Ryan Blaney plus 750, Seabell at plus 900, Tyler Reddick getting some love from Vegas at plus 1,000, Briscoe 1,400, Elliott 1,500, Chastain 1,800, and Wallace 2,200, tied there with Joey Logano. So the playoff drivers are getting love from Vegas odds makers. I look at statistics though. There's a guy here sitting in the top here, right behind Larson. He's wedged between Larson and Hamlin, and we got to talk about it real quick because could he play spoiler? If you win, you're into that next round. But what if somebody who's outside the playoffs wins this race, Don? Well, he takes away that free pass from the drivers who are and makes it you got to point your way in because Alex Bowman has an average finish of 6.8 here, 2 top 5s, 6 top 10s, and has led 7.2% of the laps here in the last 6 races. So that's an interesting fact that he's nestled in and wedged in with a bunch of playoff drivers, who have also led laps here, also getting the wins, the top 5s, the top 10s. So could he be one driver to play spoiler here? You think back to Vegas in the spring and this past weekend and New Hampshire, the 21 car had a very fast piece. They've shown speed at the intermediate tracks. Could they steal a win away from all these playoff drivers and think, what if we were still in, just like Bowman? There's so many variables. That's why we have to watch. That's why we have to race the race. It's going to be interesting, Don, and I'm here for it. Kansas is always a fun track, exciting racing, lots of passing, and now we sprinkle in this tire. We don't know what we're going to get with. It sure is going to be fun.
I'm so excited for Kansas. It's always an exciting race. Like a lot of the 1.5 miles with the next gen car struggled at the beginning of the next gen era as far as quality of race, but I really think the 1.5 miles are coming around. Take Atlanta out of that as they have moved into the drafting style track. But as far as the rest of the 1.5s go, Texas is a super entertaining race. If y'all ever get a chance to go out there and check out that track now, it has come a long way since that abysmal all-star race in 2022, y'all.
Agreed.
We all know how that all-star race was terrible, but it has gotten better. I've been to every single race since then. It is exciting now. It's a lot of fun to watch. I expect nothing less this weekend from Kansas Motor Speedway, which brings us right up to our Pick'em Spotlight from Five Lug
Yeah.
Racing. You are dark horse and our favorites for the weekend. Ryan, I'm really excited to hear about your dark horse, bud.
Well, my dark horse is going to come from the 2311 camp. Um,
Ooh.
yeah, so I'm going to pick a dark horse from the 2311 camp because I think that their backs are against the wall. I believe that they can rise above, the not so great week last week with the brake pedal issues and come back and notch another career victory here at Kansas Motor Speedway. And that is why I'm going with Tyler Reddick. I think that this team has been just avoiding victory lane way too long this year. And now it's time to go get it. If there's ever a time, it's when you have a first bad race in a round of 12 and you need one. Tyler's minus 23. Yeah, his teammate could be an honorable mention here as a dark horse as well. But I'm going to take Tyler Reddick this weekend as my dark horse for the Pick'em Spotlight.
I absolutely love the Tyler Reddick pick. We know he's fast here. We know he's more than capable of winning cup races. I think he's up to 6 or 7 now total on all different styles of racing, road courses, intermediates. He's got a little opportunity at those short tracks, but he's getting better. We saw some of that at New Hampshire this last weekend, actually. So I love the Tyler Reddick pick. He's more than capable of going out here and lifting a trophy. I think you're absolutely on point as far as that panic button goes, because that's scary. When you go from having such a successful first round to finding your numbers in negative red now, it's not fun. It's not exciting. I can't imagine what the team is going through. The driver, it's not fun for the fans to watch your numbers be in the red like that. But Tyler Reddick knows how to win. He is more than capable of doing it again at Kansas Motor Speedway. Absolutely love it. I'm going to go a little bit of a different route. Somebody that's riding a little bit more of positive momentum, if you want to go that route. And it's going to be from the Chevrolet camp. We've seen success from this driver before, and I would not mind seeing a big fat watermelon being smashed on the front straightaway Sunday afternoon. And I'm talking about Ross Chastain, y'all. It's the Melon Man. He did it here 12 months ago. Who's to say he won't go out there and do it again? Give me Ross Chastain and the number 1 Chevrolet Camaro for Trackhouse Racing.
Oh, well, I love it. I love it. And Trackhouse showed a lot of speed here last year in this race. And Ross, this is a Ross Chastain type of race. And I definitely can see it happening. And, going out and maybe you could use the term stealing one, to get into that next round. It could be Trackhouse winning the next 2 weeks if what you say is true. So, we'll have to wait and see.
Well, shout out to Gizzy ahead of schedule.
Well, he's inevitable when it comes to these road races. So we'll be talking about him next week for sure. But for my favorite this week, it might be one of the first times this year I've picked him as my favorite to win a race. And, I saw a little spark last weekend. And, this is a team that, on the driver averages of things, he has a top 5 here, has a handful of top 10s, knows how to lead laps here. But, a little bit of a spark and a little bit of we need it. We need that, continue to build that momentum and show that we are capable of winning championships again. And that's why I'm going to go with Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott is the type of driver that can absolutely come out here when nobody's really fully expecting him to be the one, when everybody's got their eyes on his teammate in the 5 car. To come out here and say, hey, guess what? I can do this too, and let me show you why. And goes out and wins this thing and punches his ticket to the next round. And man, would it make some fans happy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Excellent choice with Chase Elliott. Obviously, fan favorite vote for X amount of years in a row. Also, you mentioned the 5 car alongside with him. Those 2 were actually the last 2 Chevys to win championships in the NASCAR series. So that's kind of cool and fun. But let's talk about a favorite for Don. You already brought him up, and it's not going to be a surprise to anybody because it's Vegas thinks the same thing. He's ridiculous fast here. He's got so many consistent finishes in the top 10, in the top 5, and in winner circle. Kyle Larson, 5, Chevrolet. Hendrick Motorsports. It's going to be young money doing it again. It's too hard not to pick him. And unless he finds himself in some trouble in the middle of this race, I mean, he very well could just be on one of those dominant runs and go lift himself a trophy and find himself in the round of 8 real quick.
Yeah, and it's hard to argue against this. Listen, I mean, there are certain things that just become inevitable when you speak of it, and Kyle Larson is going to have a fast car here this weekend. I'd be shocked, floored, if they miss the setup and he's just a non-factor. I don't see that happening.
Right.
This is a Kyle Larson type of track, a Kyle Larson type of race. And this is the one where I think that, yeah, he absolutely, if there was a playoff race on the track, on the entire schedule, this is one I would circle and say, yep, give me Larson here. And so I absolutely love it. And that's why I think Vegas likes it too.
Yeah, absolutely makes sense. Yeah, I can't wait for it, man. Of course, we're going to be here breaking it down, the entire race events after this weekend. And then we'll be looking ahead to the Roval. That'll be the finale of round 2 of the NASCAR Cup playoffs. But we've got to get through Kansas. We got to figure out what's going to happen this weekend. New tires, y'all. Don't forget, they got a little bit of a new tire package this weekend. Ryan, you had a ton of great information on that. I thank you, as always, for bringing a ton of information for our fans. But, yeah, another great episode, bud. Wouldn't want to be doing it with anybody else. To all of our fans, thank you guys for being here with us all the way through. We appreciate you guys. Go down there in the comments. Tell us what you think. What do you think of the Ty Gibbs Denny Hamlin rivalry that's brewing up in JGR after their full first round sweep? I mean, that is some really good conversation starters there. So we want to know what you guys think of it too. But as always, another wonderful episode. Thank you guys for being with us, and we'll catch you on the next one. Y'all have a good one.